On the Emuna is Our Future tours. That was
Right.
the brand that I created with when I joined 2018, Brez of Israel, and be able to help assist a new sort of fresh, innovative approach to everything they were already doing. To take the books, for example, and bring it onto more of an online platform experience through all the different up-to-date technology and innovation, and also to help assist with the tours, that there should be more collaboration and there should be more experience of development, that the Emuna ideas that Rav Orish has made so available in so many languages and so tangible, and the fact that he demonstrates it and lives it, that people should be able to experience it. Hopefully it was in person. That was the ideal, obviously, that we should come to South Africa, we should be with you, we should be in New York, we should be in Miami, we should be in Toronto like we have in the past. But this, now with the coronavirus challenge, the South Africa trip's not happening, and doesn't look like the North America, unless some big changes come up, they come up with a cure or some sort of vaccine or something changes right now. So until then, thankfully we've laid foundations anyway for much more of an online approach. So we're doing like now Zoom chat, or we're doing a lot of live feeds. We just put right where I'm sitting over here is a brand new studio, and we have all the different Wi-Fi just been put in, so we can put it on all the different channels like live feed, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. The website will get updated eventually. It's still a bit old hat, so we need to get that up to level. And that's the idea, is also audio platforms, podcasts, to be up there with everybody else, where everybody else is, so that Rav Zorish teaching doesn't, God forbid, like just become sidelined by what's new and fresh. Like, we're up there, we're fresh, we're innovative, and that's why I branded it Emuna is Our Future. It should have that innovative energy to Emuna, that it's to make clear to everyone that the future is Emuna. And it's not just something that was a successful Torah experience many years ago for some people who were lucky enough to learn his books, but it's something that the legacy should grow. And that's obviously gives us a responsibility, someone like myself and yourself, who are students on some level of Rav Orish. And then it also gives us an opportunity to hopefully empower other people, and even the new generation. Like my children are in their own way, like find their own connection to Rav Orish. And they're a new generation, which I don't know what's like in South Africa, but even in Yerushalayim, they already, no matter how much you try and protect them, they're already on TikTok and they know about everything going on right now. So I put up a video of Rav Orish on TikTok, and even though it's not the best place in the world to be, and I won't put it on his name, but just as a personality, he should have his content there as well, and therefore the kids are liking those videos as well and sharing them to their friends and their WhatsApp groups or whatever they're doing. And that's the idea, that we're up there, we're where all the generations are holding. So we have still the old school website format, and we have up to where my generation is at, which is more like, say, YouTube or whatever, and then there's the new like TikTok podcast kind of vibe going on. So that's where we're holding right now.
Brilliant, great, brilliant, amazing.
Yes.
Listen, funny enough, I actually had a dream about the Rav last night.
Really? What kind of dream?
No, it was positive. It was very good. I can't remember what he gave me a message, but no, he was like, no, it was just nice. Like, it was very bright, and just like a bit like a lot of love. I mean, that's the Rav. I mean, he's got a lot of love in him.
That's why we want the personal. That's why I want him to be with you. And that's why it's important people can come here. So at least we can do is have a live thing. We're going to have tomorrow night Rav Orish sitting there in English. Please God, he should be healthy. He should come. And we've got Rav Elgrod, who Rav Dain Elgrod. He's now stepped up a bit more in the English program, and he's translating and putting out more shirim and halacha, and so he's going to translate the Rav and also Hashkafa. And with him on a weekly level, we're going to have this English live Q&A. So I'm getting questions from people already, and we'll also have special guests. So we've got Nissim Black coming for the first one, and Nissim Black's already like a well-known celebrity, and he brings in the current issue, which is the whole It's Matters story, and giving that fresh like view of how to understand current crisis that the world's going through with the whole race issue and etc., and how does it go together with Rav Orish and Emuna. And that's my hope, that we'll try and really be up to the level of what's needed to help guide people right now. another point is that myself personally, I have unity projects. My goal is to basically bring unity. You know, that's the hardest thing. You go to a shul, everyone's, you know, got different opinions and stuff, or you go to an organization, and, you know, I've had that experience many times, and it's something which is a big struggle. So I'm trying to build different platforms for unity, and Emuna and unity for me is one thing. There's no like contradiction. It's not like I'm making an opposing concept. It's completely at one with the flow. I've asked Rav Arush himself about certain ideas if they contradict each other. Like, does Simcha contradict itself? Does Emuna contradict? Because I have another Rebbe who's down the road, the Tolner Rebbe. He's Chernobyl. Now Chernobyl don't really go together with Breslov, yeah. But I'm a chassid of both. So how do I bridge that? So I asked Rav Arush, and he said that the emphasis of Simcha in Chernobyl and emphasis in Emuna in Breslov is no contradiction, because you know very much in Breslov Simcha is also 100%. Rabbi Nachman's name was Nachman ben Simcha, so there's no like contradiction. Now, to bring that into business is what our goal was. We're here to talk about the Garden of Riches and the soul money and Torah and Money. I think you put Torah first, which is good. Torah and Money, that it should be a spiritual experience whatever you're doing. You should be able to go into business, you should be able to deal with your finances, you should deal with your practical daily life with Emuna. Like, I saw that on the tours, being with Rav Arush every single day for hours, and all crazy hours, and for weeks at an end, and I had the merit to be the main person, like organizing and being a achrai, being responsible, that he should get from place to place. It was and also present him and make sure everything was taken care of, from the menu, from hospitality, from all the different aspects that go together of a daily life with Rav Arush. I had to make sure he had a mikveh, he had time for his spodulus, he had all the meetings which were back to back to back all the way through. And doing that a few times, like in the last few years, seeing how he is as a person on all those scenarios that came up, was amazing to see that with everything, with the money, everything was Emuna. How he makes washes his hands, how he goes to the bathroom, how he speaks, how he eats food, how he talks to every single person, no matter who they are, the cleaner, the driver, everything is with Emuna, and like you said, with love, and the way it should be, you know. And even one time he got upset with me, and he was right to, and it was good to see even that was with Emuna. Like, I needed that, you know. It was like everything was a very big Kiddush Hashem, very positive, and it was an honor to work with him and see how, and to be in his presence and see how the books that he's written is alive. Like, it's not just good ideas. So that's the same with us, like on our level, which I hope we can do, is try bring into daily life. Like right now, one of the big challenges, the coronavirus challenge, is with debt. Yeah, like people are having a big challenge how to balance out their finances. And if we take Rav Arush's teachings, Garden of Riches, we know that one of the key approaches is essential living, which is funny enough what the world's having to do right now. So everything he was writing about 10 years ago, when there was also struggle speaking about, was written down into word by people that helped him, like Rabbi Lazer Brody and other great people, that he was able to put out there that even in the previous crash, was say 2008, 2009, and we all remember that, with Madoff and the whole thing. So that financial crash that happened then, he would already put out big solutions in his books, and of how if we live in a more essential way, and even more so right now with the coronavirus challenge, because how much can we go out, how much can we travel, how much are we able to indulge in things that were apparently normal life? We have to cut back, we have to be more realistic, and that in itself is a massive solution to the whole debt issue. If we live in a more realistic, essential way, effective way, that our time with our family doesn't have to be surrounded by luxuries, but actually focus and actually connection. Like you see from, I love the sign, Soulful Money. Do you see the idea that we are able to tune into the people in front of us, like yourself, or family and friends, in a holistic way, that they actually get our attention? Like when I was in all those meetings with the people that visit Rav Arush, you see the way he's totally focused, and that's what I've seen by other tzaddikim as well. There's a certain ishtavus, they're present. They're not just in phone world, like unfortunately I find myself, or in other places where we're just like not focused. They're totally present, and that it creates a tremendous satisfaction with the people, like the family, the wife, the children, the shalom bayit, the blessing is there, and all the visitors as well. So then your sphere of influence is in a positive place of focus, and therefore then you don't need to make up for it through financial bonuses of, like, fancy holidays that we can't afford right now, or fancy luxurious, change the kitchen because I've ignored you for the last year, redo the kitchen. It doesn't need a redo. Like, we've moved into our house in Jerusalem, thank God. We have an apartment 5 minutes from here, down the road. Miracles are miracles, as someone who's dressed like this with, a beard and everything, and my whole life, and I'm able to, thank God, own an apartment in Yerushalayim Kodesh. And it's the whole journey to that is a miracle. And the fact that I can come work for Rav Rosh, that I can afford to work for him, meant I had to have a certain standard of living. An example was, the standard thing, you move into a new apartment. If you're from America, usually I'm from England, from London, you redo the kitchen, yeah? But I went in and I looked at the kitchen and I said to my wife, look, we have a certain amount of savings that we've come away from all the different stories that we can, balance out a little bit, this move back to Yerushalayim. So, what are we going to do? We have to redo the kitchen. Is that a chiyuv, or are we going to look at this kitchen? It's never been touched. It was an apartment that was left there for a few years. No one bought it for whatever reason. It was a few good reasons, but it worked out for our benefit. And let's just leave the kitchen as is. Clean it up a little bit, maybe add one or two things, like very small things. And we just saved thousands of shekels, thousands of headaches and time, and that we didn't need to. So then now, 2 years later, we're still benefiting from the fact that we didn't waste our money on a kitchen that we didn't need to do, because we didn't get that much more debt. We didn't accumulate things that we didn't need to accumulate. And that's just one example for me personally, and that would go together with his teachings, that if you're living in a more essential way, so then your finances, now, well, like I said, it has to balance out with your soul partner. It has to balance out that she's up for that, because then it goes to the other concept of not being stingy that Rav talks about. You have to be very generous with your wife. One of the things I was in awe of when we go on our trips, how much the Rav was able to be generous to his Rebbetzin, his Rabbanit Orish, and she was constantly able to go shopping, just my stuff. So she was able to go shopping and be able to come back to give to all our grandchildren. I don't think she got much for herself, but it was amazing how she was able to just be generous in her expendings, and we were able to work it out with the bags, and that was part of my organization, make sure we weren't kicked off the plane with so many suitcases, etc., etc. But that generosity, you see, like, for someone who is on such a high place, you see how much he treats his wife with honor, that it doesn't come back to stinginess. It's not like, so therefore, like, so if my wife would have wanted the kitchen done, that would have been Ratzon Hashem. I had to make the kitchen done. There was no argument. There's no discussion anymore. But thank God I have an Eishes Chayil, I prayed for it, that she's able to say, no, the kitchen, you know what, I'm actually okay. I'll be happy if we just do a few little things. So I bought an extra few cupboards that gave her more space, and we bought a new shish thing just to put on the middle somewhere that wasn't so nice, and a few little things, and that was the solution to the whole story. It was amazing. So, excuse me, Heva, in the middle. Yeah, Slicha, Bemsa. So, sorry, there's always guys around. So the point is that I think that that's a very important balancing act that needs to be worked out, that you're essential, but you're also not overly, overly protective of your funds. You're able to understand that what I feel, the money you get is really for your families, for other people. It's not for you. For me to buy myself something is always after the fact. That's how I feel personally. But everyone's going to work that one out themselves with the people in their life on a personal level. But the principle of Rav Orish of being essential and then at the same time not being stingy, being generous, that balance is a very important road to walk, and it comes together very much like he speaks about with prayer. With Espodidus, we're talking to Hashem, we're making a check that you are being generous, we're making a check with what you're spending on, what you need to buy, what you need to make improvements on, to be very honest with yourself. We're pressured, we don't realize how much, and this is my own personal point, we don't realize how much marketing is done on a internet level. Everything we're saying on some level, I'm not trying to be conspiracy theory, but I do feel that I see in my feeds that everything I talk about comes up. So it definitely, the algorithms of internet, social media have tuned into what I'm into. They know my likes. So I have to therefore have that extra strength of restraint, not just to be pulled into what they're advertising to me all the time, and to keep my focus that when I'm online, that I'm online to be essential, not to just be frivolous, just spending or whatever. I personally, my principle that's protected me so much is that I don't usually spend any money online, nothing. Thank God I've pretty much managed to do everything through the local sphere. I can buy everything I need from the local shops. So I'm not pulled into that whole online buying world. And, that's protected me from a lot of issues, personally. But when everyone in their own way has to make their own boundaries so that they're not pulled into a lifestyle that's beyond their ability. And that in itself is a big solution to the pressures of employment and success, that we don't have to go down that road. So I think I said a lot right now. I'd like you to be able to talk to me and ask me what you specifically were looking for. Thank you for listening.
Great. No, pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah.
So let me tell you the idea behind this course.
Yeah.
The course has got, I suppose, different aspects to it. There's three main aspects to it. Number one is practical steps on how to create wealth.
Great.
For that, I've created a budgeting tool, and I've come up with a formula on how to create wealth from different books that I've read.
Amazing.
And in the budgeting tool, it actually incorporates it. I'll show it to you quickly.
Yes, please.
That's aspect number one.